read stuff. So in Virginia, they call this a deed of trust note, but it's the promissory note. Here, they've got the amount. That's great. The date it was created, I'm going to log that in my brain because it needs to match the deed of trust, the security instrument. For value received, great. The understood promises to pay to the original guy or order without offset, meaning, you can't say that you owed me this much less something else at, and this was his address where the checks were to be sent, or at such other place, 60,000 with interest from the date hereof at a rate of 10%, payable in monthly installments of 644 and 74. Now, here's the thing. Let's bring this up. I could swore, look, this is 76, right? So they just note that this says, the note says 644.74, and the calculations show 644.76 is what the payment should be. Just so that can be bigger, 644.76, okay? So I'm noting that. I make little notes to myself of things that stand out, questions I have, things I'm going to need. Commencing, that's when the first payment's due. And here's the maturity date, when it should be fully amortized. And if they've missed anything, they owe everything no later than the 1st of March, 2025. If default, blah, 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 okay, the note holder may collect. I always like to make sure there's a late charge because this helps reimburse you for hassle fee. If you start having to deal with, I like late charges on things. In fact, I probably make a couple $100 a month just on late charges, if not more. Some people like to habitually pay late, and I guess I don't mind that much. If it's not longer than 30 days, then it really turns into a problem. Okay, so 5%, that's great. Waiving exemptions to things, I don't know how much that really helps. Now you can see that the daughter, the Marine, she's probably on duty, active duty somewhere, so it's her father who's managing the property, who's her attorney in fact. And the only reason I'm bringing this up is that before I close, I want to have in my file a copy of this attorney in fact to say that this guy, who's supposedly her father, has really the legal right to sign for her on these documents. So that would be something I would ask for to have in my file. And that's it for that. Okay, that was a note. Now we're going to the deed of trust, the actual security instrument. Okay. Hope you can see okay. Woo, that's big. Okay, and so right here, return to, after recording that was the seller's address. Here was the APN, the parcel number, folio number. So deed of trust, 23rd day of February 2010. Great, it matches the date on the note. By and between yada yada as the grantor, and these are the trustees, the people, the title guys and attorneys who put this deal together. They're the trustees, so they're the ones that will handle like a foreclosure or something if it gets to a default situation. The described property, they see Schedule A. That's where the legal description is at the end. In trust to secure the payment of the $60,000 and interest. And they recount the terms here, which is not always how it's done, 10%, at least in California and other places. But of note of even date, see that? The date on the trust deed of trust and notes the same. Payable to blah, blah, blah at this place, blah, blah, blah. And they even put it in here, remember? So deed of trust and note are 2 cents off. And that's funny because she just emailed me this afternoon and said, the seller says your numbers are right in some places and wrong in others. I said, well, that's because you guys had wrong numbers too. So anyway, we'll sort that out. Not a huge deal. I read through this stuff just to see if there's anything that, well, because you learn as you read. Okay, so it's good to get used to that. I don't know. This is a lot of standard language. I don't know that there's too much more that I want to show you. So let's, since we're kind of getting close on time here already. Wow. Purchase contract. So once she got a verbal and she and I agreed on her broker fee, and it's only by email. We didn't sign a non-circumvent. We didn't, we're just going to trust each other. And usually that works pretty good. And you're out of business real fast if you're not trustworthy. The note business is a small world. A lot of people have been around a long time. So anyway, I got my cute little logo right there. Purchase agreement for note and deed of trust. This commitment to purchase is made on the date, which you can see was only 2 days ago, by and between the seller and myself. I'm, in this case, taking title. Actually, I should do this into the name of a land trust. So probably I'll create a land trust that will hold the beneficial interest to the note here in deed of trust. That the seller agrees to sell, where the principal monthly balance is $53,128. And I copied here, regardless of that they made a mistake. I, put their mistake in here because I figured that's what she was paying, right? And I agreed the purchase price is $35,500, provided there are no underlying problems discovered during the due diligence period, and is subject to the following conditions. So because of those things I mentioned at the first, here's my conditions for this contract being valid. Property must independently appraise for at least $60,000. If it's more, great, right? An interior appraisal will be done because I want to see, how bad was it? Why was there a $20,000, repair credit, renovation credit went, and did they do anything with it? I want to see what will happen. What am I getting if I get this property back? I want the guy who pulled the credit originally and lost it, I want him to do the hassle of pulling the credit report, and I want it to give it to me. So I want them to pull credit and give it to me, and it's got to be within the last 90 days, and it has to be found acceptable, and I don't know what that's going to be, because just the number alone doesn't affect me. It's the whole picture of the credit report together. And I wouldn't care about credit if that 25% down payment would have been real, but now credit's more important to me. Proven payment history to be provided for the last 12 months, not items in a ledger. I want actually not deposit receipts. I want actually canceled checks or bank statements, copies of bank statements. Okay, it has to be proven. I love it when they have a third-party servicer, but a lot of times they don't. And then I want them to sign the offset statement. I want the borrower, the payer, to say, this is how much I owe. Yes, this is all right. This is how much I owe. This is, correct. And then I always put the price includes the July payment. So this $35,500 includes, I'm counting on getting that July payment. We've got 3-4 weeks to close here, and I should be, get that, and it will be deducted. So if we end up dragging our feet here and we don't close in time for me to get that July payment, then I'm going to take the $35,500, subtract 1 month payment, $644.74, and that'll be my new purchase price right there. And by the way, when I do that, that increases my yield a little bit there. Actually, I kind of just want to show you that really fast because I think it's interesting. So let me take my 4,500 and let me go 644.76 equals. Okay, so now I'm only going to pay $39,855 for the next 140 payments, right? Because I'm getting one less payment than I thought. I wonder what happens to my yield. Hit the wrong button. Look, it goes up a smidgen, doesn't it? 0.25%. Okay, so that doesn't hurt my feelings. All right, so then collaterals here. These are the standard blah, blah, blahs that I have. And in this situation, see, my contract's really, really simple. Some people have like 10-page contracts. I keep it kind of simple when I can. There's a 7-day due diligence period. Okay, meaning I get that much time, beginning with the date the purchaser, me, receives the signed contract. Oops. And all the requested items. So that means they got to get me the payment history, the credit report, everything I've asked for. And then my period begins, 7 days, and I'll order my appraisal. And I'll look over everything. I'll make any phone calls I need to. Also, I need the offset statement back, with closing to occur 3 business days after that. Like, I don't need a long time. They need to get me everything, and then I hop to it. I don't mess around. I close as fast as I can. So once I'm through my due diligence, I'm going to wire the money, and they're going to get it, and we're going to be done. Okay, closing to be done in 10 business days or sooner. Sometimes I give myself an extra 10 days or 20 days after this, but in this case, he wanted to know I could move quickly, so I don't mind saying that. Sometimes I've closed sooner than that, and I know other people can do it too. Closing costs to be paid by purchaser. So I said I'm going to pay all the closing costs, but as I told you before, actually the broker, it's gonna come out of her fees. Okay, almost done, and so. Last thing was, now this particular note broker, the reason she found me originally is like last year, I want to say sometime, one of our members, that's a member of our community, Wayne Wright, who also is a note broker, he brought this gal Gail to me, and we closed. It was a really small deal, but hey, he made his $500, and I think she made $500. I can't remember who got, anyway. So, but next time she had a note, she didn't go to Wayne, because he doesn't come up with his own contracts or anything. He doesn't fund them. So she came to me. So, but he was the introducing parties. And so here's the email that I sent her after we'd kind of agreed. Hi, Gail. Please find attached the following documents: the note purchase agreement to be signed by the seller. Please note the 4 conditions that I put in there. The offset statement to be signed by both the seller and payer. And like, again, the offset statement is the payer acknowledging that she does in fact owe that debt and everything's correct. The note balance, how much interest, how many payments she's made, when her next payment is due. And she acknowledges with her signature that she understands the note's being sold. So sometimes you don't want them to know this because you think they're going to be your competition for buying the note. But a lot of times, if there's anything squirrely, and if they have a bad relationship with the note holder, I want to know that. I'd rather have a deal fall apart than get into a deal that turns into a headache. And then I had sent an amortization schedule of what I was basing the UPB, the unpaid balance, on. And so to Gail still, I have noted that your broker fee is $5,000 less closing costs. As Wayne Wright, like I said, is the person who originally introduced us, I would like him to be paid 10% or $500 out of your fee as well. By this practice, you can know that I will also include you if you are ever an introducing party. For instance, if this note seller ever came to me directly, I would include you in the transaction. It is very important for us to protect each other in this business. We all work hard for our leads. Thank you, Dawn. And then she sent an email back, said, that's totally fine. Just pay him separately so I don't have to pay taxes on it. So that was all very, very cool. So anyway, I hope that was a little bit helpful, enlightening in some way. I just want to make these transaction reviews even more valuable and getting you comfortable with the actual paperwork that you tend to look at in this business, whether you're buying or brokering. Okay. Thanks so much for the time spent with me. I don't see any questions emailed. If you have anything else you want covered in our next meeting, let me know. Next Wednesday, we're having a private community Q&A session, just not by webinar, just teleconference. So look for an email where I'll be inviting you to send over questions and things we can talk about next Wednesday, okay? All right, you guys have a good night. I appreciate you. Take care now. Bye-bye.